Welcome back. Well, for the advanced decline ratio, it has been weak, so it continues to be around 1:2, almost 1:2 at this point in time on the Bombay Stock Exchange. We have the Bank Nifty, which is down around 0.3%. Remember that yesterday there was financials which really dragged towards the last hour of trade. So we are seeing maybe a little bit of incremental sort of profit booking which is coming in. For example, ICICI Bank is down around 1% at this point in time. We have Axis, which is down around 1%. We have Yes Bank, which is fallen a little bit, so down around 0.8% currently for Yes Bank as well. So that's what the setup is looking like. We have Cipla, which is managing to outperform for the second day running, so that stock is up around 1.3%, and Dr. Reddy's as well, though there is no impact from that Indivior court case which took place, and the stock resulted in falling, fell around 70% in the UK markets. There's no direct impact on Dr. Reddy's and Suboxone. But we have Manisha joining in to tell us, give us a roundup on the commodity and the currency space. Manisha, over to you.
Thank you, Ekta, so much for that. Well, while we have seen the crude oil prices actually continue to hold around those 5-month highs, it is the base metal prices which actually have seen some profit taking, even as the US and China trade talks are progressing well, and you have seen the US dollar decline a bit. It really has been about the US Fed and the European Central Bank flagging risk to the world economy. So it really is about the global growth global growth going forward that seems to be weighing onto the prices. So everything in Shanghai actually opened on the weaker note, and that's exactly how we have seen the LME metals trade as well. 0.5% down on copper, nickel, zinc, all of that. And there is plenty data that is expected today and tomorrow. So choppy markets is what you're going to get. And until there are concerns about demand going, you will see some pressure continue for this space. But to get more analysis on the sector, we are now joined by Jonathan Bharat. Jonathan, hi. Thank you so much for your time. What is your sense? The couple of central banks have spoken in this week, and we have seen some pressure, some concerns coming from that. Do you see this pressure in the base metal prices continue for some time?
Good morning, Manisha. Look, at the end of the day, I think we are having just a rest in the base metals. When you look at copper, it's just down a fraction, but it has had a reasonable run. And I think at the end of the day, you've still got those trade talks lingering. And I guess whilst we don't have anything too 100% concrete, there is this real concern that the economies are going to slow down. And as a result of that, people are saying, well, let's take some profits until we're a little bit clear. And once we're clear, then I think you'll find that people will go back to the base metal complex.
Fair point that, but when it comes to the trade tensions, it's not just between US and China. We have seen similar statements being talked about with Europe, the US and Canada trade tensions also. There are some retaliatory comments coming in from Canada on that as well. How long, how much do you see this really going on and impact on the metals?
Look, I generally think that the state of play with the Donald Trump administration is all about being a bit of a disruptor. But at the end of the day, everyone's important in terms of getting trade together, and they know that. It's just trying to etch out the terms. And you can see Donald Trump as a businessman at that. So he goes to the jugular first, which caused the market to concern. But at the end of the day, he wilts back. So I think you'll see some headlines come through. But at the end of the day, deals will be done. And that will provide the good basis for some good moves in the commodities for the remainder of the quarter, and if not into next quarter. But a little bit of a slowdown, but at the end of the day, still quite positive.
That point is well taken. Jonathan, also, how are you looking at the demand view then? Because, this is a strong demand cyclical period, the quarter that is, and China has been boosting stimulus in the areas of infrastructure, housing, small and medium businesses, etc. Do you see that pick up and that in turn support? And also, when you look at the metal prices, where you are expecting consolidation and even some gains, are there any favorite bets really?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, the Chinese stimulus, the One Belt, One Road, ideals, that will always provide a backdrop to the price or any weakness. When we look at the base metals, when we look at iron ore, for instance, we've seen some very solid moves there. Iron ore in itself is, when you look at the price, it's up 44% for the year. So that, regardless of what's happening with trade talks, it still looks quite good. So I think that philosophy is still with us. The market's still supportive. So I think that if we get any weakness, it's only weakness that people will buy. When I do look at the markets and some of the metals, gold's having a little bit of a tick up now. Gold is still in the range, but it's at the lower end of the range. So I think if investors like it, they can work into the gold price and look for about a $20 to $30 gain. Whether or not it breaks out of the range is another story.
All right. So while gold, of course, is a topic coming, what is your sense on the industrial metals here? Because we've seen 29% gains in iron ore, 26% up for nickel, 18% up for zinc. Do you see some of these metals continuing to outperform in the sector?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think when I look at the whole complex, it's something I've been supportive for quite some time. I'd like to see some correction, but at the end of the day, I see that the only outcome for demand will be good trade talks, and I think they will come. It might take time, but there will be a conclusion, and that will support prices.
Okay, all right. Manisha as well as Jonathan, thanks very much for joining in. Well, we do have Vedanta, which is still down around 3% at this point in time. Zee Entertainment also, which is seeing some amount of profit booking. We'll take a break with the news that the Nifty is absolutely flat, and we have the Bank Nifty, which is a tad bit underperforming at this point in time. Once we come back, we'll be